Imagine waking up and realizing your state's economy isn't just slowing down, it's unraveling. Factories are shuttered. Small businesses are disappearing overnight. Property values are free-falling, and your local government is cutting services just to stay afloat. This isn't a movie trailer. This is a real warning. In 2025, many top economists are now signaling that a U.S. recession may already be forming beneath the surface. Corporate profits are shrinking, federal debt is climbing, and interest rates are still punishingly high. But here's the thing, not every state is equally prepared. Some have deep reserves, diverse industries, and strong fiscal management. Others, they're running on fumes. Today, we're breaking down the 10 U.S. states that would collapse first if the economy crashes, where one bad quarter could mean massive layoffs, drained budgets, and economic chaos spreading from the bottom up. Stay with me until the end because the top states on this list may surprise you, and some could already be halfway there. Number 10, Arizona. Arizona has lived off rapid growth for nearly 2 decades, booming housing, a steady influx of retirees, and population spikes driving consumption. But growth like that hides fragility. The state's economy leans heavily on construction, tourism, and migration, all industries that crash together when credit tightens or housing slows.
All right, a new red flag in the housing market, mortgage delinquencies. It's a sign of bigger trouble ahead. That's the question this morning.
Mortgage delinquencies are rising, job listings are dropping, and major employers have started quietly freezing hires. A nationwide slowdown could quickly turn Arizona's booming suburbs into ghost towns of half-finished developments.
The worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
The Dow traders are standing there watching in amazement, and I don't blame them.
We're now down 43%.
Almost everything there completely wiped out.
It's the same story we saw in 2008, only this time, the costs could run deeper because state reserves aren't what they used to be. Number 9, South Carolina. South Carolina has built its momentum on manufacturing and relocation. Big global companies set up shop here, automotive plants, shipping logistics, and tech parks. But so much of that progress depends on foreign trade, cheap labor, and federal incentives. Now, as supply chains strain and global demand cools, the cracks are showing. Layoffs in key manufacturing sectors, pressure on exports, and wage stagnation all spell risk. Combine that with rising living costs and ballooning consumer debt, and the state could be in for a painful correction if the economy dips further. A slowdown wouldn't just mean fewer jobs, it could stall decades of progress, particularly for smaller towns already struggling to keep young workers from leaving. Number 8, Kentucky. Kentucky's challenge isn't just economic, it's structural. It's a state that never truly diversified after coal faded. Manufacturing and logistics keep the lights on, but they don't drive sustainable wage growth. Many of the state's small cities rely on a handful of employers or aging industries that can't handle a hit to consumer spending. If a national downturn deepens, state tax revenue could shrink dramatically, forcing cuts to education and public safety. Local banks would face higher default risks, and the rural economy, already fragile, could stall entirely. Kentucky doesn't have a buffer to absorb a nationwide crisis. When America catches a cold, Kentucky gets pneumonia. Number 7, New Mexico. New Mexico has long been caught between potential and dependence. Its mix of energy, federal employment, and service sector jobs makes it look stable on paper until one pillar starts to shake. In 2025, with energy markets cooling and federal budget uncertainty rising, that stability looks more fragile than ever. The state's over-reliance on oil and gas royalties leaves its finances exposed to every dip in global prices. When that revenue drops, education, healthcare, and infrastructure are the first to feel the cuts. Meanwhile, New Mexico's private sector remains shallow. Outside of a few tech hubs near Albuquerque and Santa Fe, the job base is limited, leaving rural communities trapped in cycles of poverty. If a national recession deepens, New Mexico could see a dangerous spiral. Falling consumer spending hurts small businesses. Tax revenue collapses. Then come the layoffs in public services teachers, police, and healthcare workers. That, in turn, pushes more residents to migrate out of state, further draining the local economy. The long-term threat is depopulation. As younger generations move away for better pay and stability, entire counties could empty out, creating what some economists already call a quiet recession zone. New Mexico's challenge isn't just surviving a downturn, it's breaking a decades-long dependency before it's too late. Number 6, Nevada. Nevada is the perfect symbol of America's boom and bust economy, a state that soars when people spend freely and crashes when they don't. It's a place built on confidence, tourism, and constant construction. But when a recession looms, that optimism can evaporate almost overnight. In 2025, Nevada is facing familiar warning signs. Las Vegas, Reno, and Henderson depend heavily on discretionary income, the kind of money people stop spending the moment uncertainty hits. Already, casino revenues are slowing, visitor numbers are plateauing, and investment in new developments is stalling. The hospitality and entertainment sectors, which employ hundreds of thousands, are the first to bleed jobs in any downturn. The real estate market, which has once again inflated due to speculative buying and short-term rentals, adds to the risk. Rising interest rates and declining tourism could trigger a sharp correction. Many homeowners are already over-leveraged, and small landlords who bought multiple properties during the pandemic-era boom could face foreclosure waves if the economy slips. Beyond the numbers, Nevada's social fabric is what makes this downturn particularly dangerous. The state's growth has drawn in thousands of new residents chasing opportunity, many with little savings and high personal debt. When jobs disappear, there's nowhere to fall back. If the lights dim on the Las Vegas Strip again, it won't just be a temporary setback, it'll be a wake-up call that Nevada's economy, for all its glitz, still runs on borrowed time. Number 5, Mississippi. Mississippi sits at the bottom of nearly every major economic ranking, and that's not a coincidence. Its economy depends heavily on low-wage industries like agriculture, light manufacturing, and retail, sectors that crumble quickly when consumer spending falls. With one of the lowest median incomes in the country and one of the highest poverty rates, the state simply doesn't have the cushion to absorb a national economic hit. A 2025 downturn would ripple through every level of life in Mississippi. Manufacturing jobs could vanish as global demand cools. Farmers, already squeezed by rising fuel and fertilizer prices, might face falling crop values and shrinking markets. Local governments, which rely heavily on sales and property taxes, would see revenues dry up, forcing layoffs in schools, police departments, and healthcare systems. Number 4, Louisiana. Louisiana is a state that lives and dies by its industries, and right now, those industries are standing on shaky ground. Oil, gas, shipping, and tourism form the pillars of its economy. But when global energy prices dip or trade routes slow, Louisiana's lifeblood dries up. The state's deep dependence on these volatile sectors means a recession could hit like a hurricane. Refineries cut hours, ports slow down, and hotels along the Gulf Coast sit half empty. And that's before you factor in Louisiana's ongoing struggle with natural disasters, rising insurance costs, and population flight. Many local economies from Baton Rouge to Lake Charles are still recovering from previous storms and plant closures. If the economy contracts again, even temporarily, those gains could disappear overnight. Construction projects would stall, state tax revenues would crater, and already aging infrastructure would be left to crumble. What makes Louisiana especially fragile is the cycle it can't seem to break: boom, bust, rebuild, repeat. Each recovery takes longer, costs more, and helps fewer people. Unless the state diversifies beyond oil and tourism soon, the next recession won't just slow it down, it could permanently alter its economic identity. Number 3, Iowa. Iowa might seem stable, solid, agricultural, self-reliant, but that stability is built on fragile foundations. The state's economy depends on 2 major engines: agriculture and manufacturing. Both are deeply tied to global markets, and both are notoriously sensitive to price swings, trade restrictions, and federal subsidies. If the economy turns south in 2025, Iowa's export-driven industries would be among the first to feel it. Falling commodity prices would squeeze farmers already battling debt, while manufacturing hubs that build machinery and vehicles could see contracts evaporate as consumer demand slows. And beyond economics, there's a demographic problem. Young workers keep leaving, drawn to bigger cities with higher wages and more opportunities. That means when jobs disappear, there's no new generation of talent ready to rebuild. Small towns that once depended on agriculture or manufacturing could hollow out entirely, leaving behind aging populations and empty main streets. A recession in Iowa wouldn't look like Wall Street panic. It would look like silence. Quiet factories, fewer lights on in the evening, and whole communities slowly fading away. Number 2, Alaska. Alaska's economy is the definition of dependence on oil, on federal spending, and on imports for almost everything its residents use. That's a dangerous mix when the economy starts to wobble. Oil revenues fill a massive share of Alaska's budget, and when prices fall, the entire state's income plunges. In a 2025 crash, that vulnerability could become catastrophic. Federal grants might shrink as Washington tightens its belt. Tourism could dry up as Americans cut vacation spending, and supply chain costs, already high due to Alaska's remoteness, could skyrocket. The result? Communities across the state would feel the squeeze, local governments would face deficits, infrastructure maintenance would stall, and essential services like healthcare and education could see deep cuts. Many Alaskans might have no choice but to move south in search of stability, accelerating a population decline that's already worrying lawmakers. And unlike most states, Alaska's harsh geography makes recovery painfully slow. Every lost job, every closed business takes years to rebuild. In a national downturn, the last frontier could become the first to fall. Number 1, West Virginia. West Virginia's struggle has been decades in the making, and a 2025 recession could push it past the breaking point. Once one of America's industrial powerhouses, the state has never fully recovered from the collapse of coal and heavy manufacturing. What's left is an economy heavily dependent on government assistance, healthcare, and low-wage service work. When recessions hit, those sectors are the first to tighten. Coal output declines further, factory closures accelerate, and healthcare systems, the state's largest employers, face budget cuts. With one of the oldest and least healthy populations in the U.S., that combination could quickly become a humanitarian crisis. Younger residents, already leaving for better opportunities elsewhere, would flee in even greater numbers. That brain drain weakens the tax base, leaving fewer resources for schools, infrastructure, and social programs. Towns that once thrived on industry are already hollow shells of what they used to be. Another crash could turn them into ghost towns altogether. In many ways, West Virginia is America's economic warning in miniature. When a region fails to adapt, diversify, and invest in the future, it becomes trapped in decline. If the next recession comes hard, West Virginia won't just struggle, it could collapse. These 10 states are more than names on a list. They're a warning. They reveal how uneven America's economy really is. Some regions can weather storms, others crumble fast. If the economy does crash in 2025, it won't just be about Wall Street or Washington, it'll be about towns, workers, and families who built their lives in these states. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit like, share, and subscribe for more. And tell me in the comments, which state do you think is most at risk, and do you see the signs where you live? Stay aware, stay informed. Because when the economy falls, it's always the people on the ground who feel it first.